Is that better? Yes. Okay. Well, let's start by thanking everybody for being here who joined us today for our rally and the Capitol car cruise. Riding side by side with Jay Leno and watching these beautiful vehicles cruise around the Capitol is an important reminder that we must protect these rolling pieces of history and preserve a rich automobile heritage here in California. I'm honored here today to discuss SB 712, affectionately known as Leno's Law. California has a unique, robust classic car culture. Enthusiasts and collectors from the top of the state down to the bottom celebrate this culture through car clubs, shows, museums, and online forums. In fact, we're incredibly fortunate to have the former governor of the state of California, Jerry Brown's powder blue 1974 Plymouth Satellite was showcased in our car cruise today, in case you didn't notice. It's quite evident, based on the display here today, that the owners of the classic cars take great pride and honor in restoration and possession of these beautiful vehicles. However, it is unfortunate, the reality in California, the burdensome rules discourage restoration and ownership in California. It's difficult sometimes and nearly impossible to find a smog station with the equipment to smog older cars. One of my Senate colleagues even shared with me an experience where she had to do a constituent services, and it took almost 8 months to get an individual with a classic car into a smog shop, one of the only 2 available that service this type of car in all of Southern California. Our current smog rules cause many classic car owners to sell their vehicles out of state because they cannot smog them here in California. This is why I've introduced SB 712, which proposes a rolling smog check exemption for classic cars 35 years and older. California previously had a 25-year rolling exemption, but that was repealed in 2005. This bill seeks to restore that exemption with a 35-year rollover. Currently, classic vehicles from 1976 and prior are fully exempt from smog checks. SB 712 simply aims to include additional classic cars in that current language and current exemption with a 35-year rollover. Classic cars are already defined in law, used primarily for shows, parades, and exhibitions, and not for daily use. In fact, these cars are so rare and so beautiful and so restored and so classic. They're used, there's only 1% of the 30 million cars in the state of California are included in this classic car definition. I'm proud to announce that the bill has major support from many diverse communities around the state, including lowriders, cruisers, muscle cars, JDM, and other car cultures. SB 712 aims to protect cultural preservation and equity. Leno's Law is a common sense measure that supports culture, history, small business, and economic development. Now, without further ado, who better to discuss Leno's Law than the legendary car collector, comedian, and longtime host of The Tonight Show and Jay Leno's Garage, Mr. Jay Leno.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. It's an honor and privilege to be here. I know there's nothing more annoying than Hollywood people involved in politics, so I just try to keep that to a minimum. But this one's important to me because I'm an enthusiast. You know, I have a car I bought in 1989. I still use it today. It's only got 27,000 miles on it. It looks brand new. But to get it smogged, I got to go. I'm in Burbank. I have to go to Downey. I have to go somewhere to try and find a smog station. How many miles I put more miles on it looking for smog stations than I do driving the thing, you know. But it's true. I mean, I try to be the typical California enthusiast. During the week, I drive an electric car. My garage is all green. We have solar panels on the roof. We try to get off the grid as much as we can. And we try to do it in a way that we use environmentally safe products, you know, biodegradable products when working on automobiles. And, you know, they've come to my garage and given it the green sticker. So we try to do things the right way. But it's just hard when you have a vehicle that's not modified in any way. For example, if you have an old car and it's smoking, it doesn't matter how old it is, you're going to get a ticket. It's just not a well-maintained vehicle. But most enthusiasts maintain their cars to almost better than new condition, at least the people I know. And it just makes it such a hardship. Something that's legal in Nevada or Washington State, you drive right over the border, and now your car is illegal, and you can't have it in California. It's not even like we're looking for something special. everybody else is 25 years. We're 35 years, so we threw an extra 10 on there just to hopefully get it to pass. But just to give us parity with other states, that's all. Just it seems sad if you come here, if you have an old car, you have to sell it out of state. It just, I don't know. It's nice to try and keep the auto enthusiast market in California. You know, hot rodding began in Southern California and be a huge business. So many businesses built up around Southern California, all around hot rodding. And to watch them close or move to Texas or go to Colorado, it's kind of depressing. So that's all. Just try to make it so, again, use your classic cars are kind of like ATVs or snowmobiles. You use them on weekends to go to a car meet. Most people drive to a place, park it there all day, have a barbecue, then drive it home again. You know, as I said, I've got an 89 car, and it's got 27,000 miles on it. That's way less than 1,000 miles a year. And it'll probably last me my whole life. So I maintain it, and it looks brand new. So that's all we're trying to do here. So I hope you get behind us on this bill and at least make us equal to our neighboring states. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you. It's definitely an honor. We always try to do things bipartisanly. This is not a partisan issue. This is definitely something that car enthusiasts, doesn't matter what party they belong to. I would like to invite our co-author to this stage, to the podium, to say a few words. He is Senator Dave Cortese, the Transportation Committee Chair. Mr. Cortese?
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge Senator Grove for her leadership in bringing this forward and getting this. We're going to get this done, but taking this big step, right? We're going to get this done. And of course, I see some YouTube creators and other people who've gotten the word out. Mr. Frankovich, I'm my own mechanic restorer who helps me with my cars, getting the word out, but we could have never gotten the word out on this bill like this without Mr. Leno. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you for that. Yes, I own a 1957 red Chevy pickup, a Resto Mod, and a 72 Chevelle Resto Mod, and some other vehicles that aren't quite that old, but I say are in the collection category, and they'll soon be fully restored. The difficulty in getting those vehicles smogged with today's modern diagnostic equipment that really wasn't meant to be utilized for those vehicles, as Mr. Leno pointed out, is a challenge. And that's why I mention my own cars, not because I stand to benefit in any way. Everyone knows a 57 and a 72 are already exempt, but because I've had that lived experience, like Mr. Leno was just talking about, and so many of you have experienced, where you're just stepping into a hellish situation to try to comply with state law. And none of us are scofflaws. We all want to comply with state law. The cars are rarely on the road. Senator Grove talked about that. Most you'll see here today, all that you'll see here today, and most that I run into in San Jose, California, in my county, Silicon Valley, are meticulously maintained. They represent a very, very small fraction of California's total vehicle emissions. SB 712 is a long overdue common sense law that both protects hobbyists and collectors but continues to safeguard our environment. I have two EVs. That's what I use to get back and forth from San Jose to Sacramento.
Here's how advanced the technology has gotten. The other day I got flipped off by a driverless car.
It wasn't me. I have a son that does improv. I got to pass that one along to him. So the bottom line is, you've heard enough about why I support this. Senator Grove started telling me about the bill some time ago. In fact, she got a call from someone in San Jose very close to me who works on cars down there. And I said, I'd like to co-author the bill. And I hope, as Senate Transportation Chair, it helps move the bill along. And I hope with the bipartisan indicia that we put on this bill, with the bipartisan support, she as a Republican and I as a Democrat also helps push this bill along. So there's a method to my madness here. But again, I am very grateful for the real leadership, the hard work that's been done. You know, getting a bill passed in California on any issue is not easy. It's very hard. And again, I'm very grateful for Senator Grove. Thank you so much. Let's get this done together, and thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Senator Cortese. He really has been a champion side by side with us to get this bill done. Next, I'd like to ask Mike Spagnola, the President and CEO of Specialty Equipment Market, or known as SEMA, a recognized leader in advancing automotive freedom and economic opportunity. SEMA businesses in the state of California, listen to this, everyone, generates $6.16 billion in tax revenue. This is billion with a B, and they have over 150,000 jobs. That's what we're also trying to protect. Please welcome Mike.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jay, I heard somebody in the crowd say it also keyed itself. So anyway.
Comedy's hard.
Hey, good morning. I'm Mike Spagnola. I'm the president and CEO of the Specialty Equipment Market Association, better known as SEMA. We represent, as Senator said, over 7,500 small businesses nationwide, including over 1,500 businesses right here in Southern California. In California alone, our industry contributes over $40 billion a year to the economy and supports more than 149,000 jobs. Today, I want to thank Senator Shannon Grove for introducing SB 712, what we proudly call Leno's Law, and for her commitment to protecting the automotive culture. I also want to thank my good friend Jay Leno for championing this bill. Jay's a lifelong car guy, passionate voice, and an ambassador for our industry, and he keeps the car culture accessible to everyone. That's what SB 712 is all about, access. It's about making sure future generations of Californians can experience the joy of building, restoring, and preserving vehicles that matter to them. That was my passion. That's how I grew up in this industry, by having the ability to work on early cars and by learning that and by learning with my hands. And let's face it, we need technicians in the future. And so that's what it's about. Right now, California's smog check exemption only applies to vehicles built before 1976, a cutoff that has not been updated in 20 years. When I was younger, my dream car was a 1970 Datsun 240Z. That car still means the world to me. But today's collectors, young collectors, have their own icons. They're restoring cars from the 80s and 90s that they grew up with, that they saw in movies, games, and driveways. Cars with a personal connection to them, just like I was for mine. These vehicles, just like the traditionally classic predecessors, are rarely driven, maintained responsibly, and celebrated at car shows and community events across the state. They represent a new generation of car culture touchpoints shared by enthusiasm, and they deserve to be welcomed into this tradition and not left behind by outdated rules. Unfortunately, outdated regulations and limited testing availability makes it harder than ever for these owners to keep their cars legal. And the cost and inconvenience can push enough young people out of the car culture completely. That's where SB 712 comes in. It's a common sense bill that updates the existing common sense legislation. This bill creates a rolling 35-year exemption for the emerging classics from automotive world. It's a practical, responsible update that reflects the real-world use of these vehicles. At SEMA, we are proud to help enthusiasts do things the right way. Through our SEMA Garage, we work directly with CARB, the California Air Resources Board, and the EPA to certify legal emissions-compliant parts. This bill complements them and removes the unnecessary barriers in keeping young people, especially young people, away in. Leno's Law isn't about the past. It's about the future. It's about preserving California's automotive legacy and making sure the next generation can take part of it. We're proud to support SB 712, and we urge its passage. Thank you, Senator Grove.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we have Karen McLaughlin. She's the Executive Director of the California Automobile Museum. The museum is committed to preserving automotive heritage and engaging the public through interactive exhibits and community programs, and we were incredibly honored that several of our beautiful vehicles that were in the parade today, or the cruise today, were brought in by the museum. Karen?
Thank you. The California Automobile Museum is a regional museum located here in Sacramento, displaying over 150 vehicles of all ages, as well as a community hub of automotive activity. So we see firsthand how a car from the past can stir special memories and joy for those who visit. The museum offers a wide variety of programs and classes, from basic engine courses, tune-up and restoration workshops for the youngest enthusiasts to the oldest collectors. But our cars are also on the move, as you saw today. Once a month, we take several of these cars out to give our patrons free rides, our busiest day of the month. We take our cars out for weddings, proms, fairs, parades to carry mayors, pageant, and drag queens alike, grand marshals, and even governors. We bring the museum vis-a-vis our cars to the public, to those who are least likely or able to visit the museum. We might take several cars to a care home where the folks get to see some of the cars from their youth. Many who have never been in a classic car are able to see and experience it for the first time. And the happy smiles and eye twinkles are endless. These iconic cars are driven for special events, for celebration, for pure joy, and that opportunity should be preserved, especially in California, the birthplace of car culture in our country. We should be celebrating this, not restricting it. We want to guide these young automotive enthusiasts into this car culture. We hope you'll join us in support of SB 712, Leno's Law, to continue this amazing experience and tradition throughout California. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. So the last speaker that we have, finally, I'd like to introduce Francine Mata. She's the president of the Lowriders Commission. The Lowriders Commission is a leading advocate for lowrider culture and community empowerment. They were instrumental in the statewide efforts to decriminalize lowrider cruising, including the passage of AB 436 Alvarez in 2023, and they worked very hard on that bill. They're a voice for Latino communities and culture preservation in the California's car scene. Please welcome Francine.
Good morning, everyone. I'm saving paper, so I'll be reading from my phone. My name is Francine Mata, and I'm honored to stand before you today as the president of the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, a nonprofit organization proudly rooted in the preservation, education, and celebration of lowrider culture. I'm here today to speak in strong support of Senate Bill 712, known as Leno's Law, because this bill represents far more than a change in smog check requirements. It's about preserving culture, protecting history, and promoting equity for collectors, communities, and California's rich car culture. Lowriding has always been more than just cars. It's art on wheels. It's a rolling expression of heritage, identity, and creativity. It brings together our families, generations, and neighborhoods. It builds community. It sparks joy, and yes, it heals. Even during the pandemic, when we saw how lowriding brought people peace and purpose, that's how car culture started. Research shows cultural connection improves mental health, and for many of us, cruising is our therapy. SB 712 offers a practical and cultural aware solution, exempt collectors' cars that are 35 years or older from California's smog check program. These aren't daily drivers. They're rarely used. And as I stand here, I have to reflect on, I've been with the Veterans Council for a lot of years, and we do 100 lowriders and put 100 veterans in every Veterans Day. That's what we stand for, is our community and honoring. They're rarely used, carefully maintained, and loved for their cultural and historic value. Let me be clear that this is a bill that supports the builders, the dreamers, the artists, the small business owners, sorry, I'm getting very passionate about this. It helps families pass down our legacies, and it gives youth a reason to stay inspired, focused, and connected to something bigger. At the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, we've helped lead the way statewide repealing anti-cruising laws, sponsoring key legislation like ACR 176 and AB 436, and helping found the California Lowrider Alliance, a coalition of 21 cities standing strong for our community and culture. I have some California Lowrider Alliance members here. Please say hello. Lowriders aren't just a tradition, they're an economic engine. Our local community hosts over 80 to 100 events here in Sacramento. That's over 1,500 hours of community service that we engage all nationalities, all different social economic backgrounds. We draw hundreds and thousands of visitors, creating real opportunity for local businesses, vendors, artists, and entrepreneurs. We partner with schools, museums, and STEM projects. We also are a family and community culture based. And while we embrace the future, we also honor the past. These classic cars, from lowriders to cruisers to muscle cars, are part of California's story. They deserve to be preserved, shared, and appreciated without the burden of our outdated regulations that don't reflect how these vehicles are used and why they matter. Other states already offer exemptions over classic cars for 25 years and older. It's time California lead again this policy, informed by both cultural value and real-world impact. SB 712 supports the builders, the collectors, the caretakers of history, and it supports our youth who look up to these cars and see a future in engineering, in art, in craftsmanship. This is how we keep our culture alive. This is how we build bridges across all our generations. On behalf of the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, our partners, our volunteers, and the countless families that make up the lowrider community, we ask for your support in SB 712. Thank you.
Can I say something? Hey, if you've never been to a lowrider event, it is hilarious. You know, I go to so many old guy car meets, and it's the Beach Boys, fun, and it's guys with white hair. I went to a couple of lowriders, but they're screaming, kids running, people playing guitar, barbecues cooking, all kinds. I mean, it's a real family fun. I really had a lot of, because see, I'm not a lowrider guy, but I appreciate the workmanship and the craftsmanship. I go, well, let me go to one of these events. And it was just so much fun. I'm Italian and Latino, and it's kind of the same thing, you know, just screaming kids running around, throwing food. The little girls have dresses, the kids are dressed up in ill-fitting suits. It was the most fun I ever had. So if you ever get a chance to go, don't think, oh, is this some Mexican gang? What is it? No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. So thank you very much. Thank you.
So, in conclusion, so we'll go ahead and take some questions. I want to thank everybody for being here today. This is a very impactful bill that will change the face of classic car culture in the state of California, and it's desperately needed. We don't need to ship these cars out of state. And so my co-author here, David Cortese, Senator Cortese, and our sponsor, Jay Leno, will take questions if you have them. So the reason why we did that is because prior to 1976, you had this language in statute, and changing it was going to be confusing. And which would the DMV honor, which would be brought forth. So we wanted to make it consistent. The only thing that we were doing is making it consistent with prior 1976 vehicles.
Yes. Go ahead. Well, I know having annoying celebrities come to Sacramento. I watch them on TV. They have no idea what they're talking about most of the time. But this is a subject I'm interested in. You know, I watched the movie industry get decimated. Everybody moved out of California. They charged so much to film. Everything went to Texas, Georgia, Atlanta. We have the hot rod culture. All the people come here, all the design studios, Toyota, Nissan, everybody, Hyundai, they have design studios in California because this is where the new ideas come from. When Lee Iacocca worked on the early Mustang, And he had the horse turn west because that's where the good ideas were. And they're still here. But to see all these ideas leave and go to Texas and all these other places because it's easy to do business, I don't want to see the hot rod or the mechanical interests leave California the way the film business did. So that's why I think it's important. Yeah.
Senator Cortese is going to respond as well. Just 1 second. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, I respect the question was for Mr. Leno, but as I said earlier, the outreach for this kind of a bill would have never happened, without Mr. Leno's status, his name recognition, far beyond any of us. So, and it's important. It's just important. People have been doing this grassroots outreach. I'm aware of it because I watched the little shows on how to restore this and restore that, and folks have been out there pushing this bill. They've been making phone calls, but this elevates it to another level. And frankly, I think there's about a half dozen crises in this state that we could use that kind of support on. So we'll be calling on you some more.
I'm here.
And absolutely right. Just so you guys know, this has been tried to be passed several times for several years. And, when I met Mr. Leno at his garage down in Burbank, it was brought to my attention that this was something that needed to be addressed. And so we took on the challenge, and he agreed to come and help us. So, yes, sir. Sorry.
Right. He's asking why do you have to run all over California to get an older car? Because in the old days, when you went for your smog test, you drove up on a ramp and there was some rolling, they call them rolling roads, a dyno, and you put your car on and you take it up to 20 miles an hour and spin, and they would check the emissions. Okay. Since 2000, it's all computers. You plug into everything. I mean, it used to take an hour to get a smog test. Now it's fairly quick because you just plug in, it either passes or it doesn't. But with old cars, you have to go through this laborious test. Consequently, most smog stations don't carry those anymore. They don't want to do them because it takes too long. And they'll charge you really 4, 5, 6 times more than the standard smog test to do it. Yeah. How many cars do I have? You sound like my wife. Well, I have one woman and I have 208 cars. So that's it. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper. I watched Charlie Sheen go 200 million with hookers and cocaine. So I got one woman. So it's actually, when you come home reeking of transmission fluid, they know where you've been.
Sorry. So final question. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Where do car parts come from? Well, our people are in the parking lot gathering parts from some of these cars. No, I'm saying. No. Well, we have something now called 3D printing, which has revolutionized, again, something that started here in California. I have like some steam cars from the 1900s. There are no steam cars in junkyards. They just don't exist. But you can scan a part and you can make it and rebuild it using 3D printing, and you could not tell it from the original part. It's the most amazing thing. It used to be the lathe in the old days. Now you have 3D printers that can copy just about anything. And California is kind of leading the charge here. You know, when guys come out from Detroit, I take them to my shop and I show them how and they're amazed at how 3D printing works because they're just kind of set, and it's kind of old school, you know. The new ideas start here, and that's why we want to keep them here. And 3D printing is a way to just make a part as you need it, and it's pretty amazing technology.
Okay, Aton, because I missed Aton.
Yes.
Sorry, Aton.
Well, thank you. Well, I would like to see it pass. I mean, it just seems like common sense why this state can't have something and this state can't. I mean, if it was, we're not asking for special treatment here, just equal to everybody else so we don't lose more jobs. And you don't want to make criminals out of people. You have a lot of people, they drive an older car, they've had it a long time, they maintain it. I can't get it smog, so now they got to sneak around or get a guy to give them a phony piece of paper. And, that's what happens. There's a lot of Montana residents in California lately? Oh, okay. You really think they're visiting? They drive down for the weekend from Montana? No, and we don't want to do that. You don't want to make people criminals. You want to make a law easy to obey, because the harder it is to obey, the more likely people are to break it.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, I did text the governor. He is out of town today, but we did send him a lot of pictures that we had of him and his Facebook and that he's riding on these classic cars. Steve is going to have to help me with the exact car, but I did ask him because we wanted to get Jay to bring the governor's original first car he ever had, and it ended up being some Saturn EV that you had to lease that are no longer in existence. The EV1, yes.
It was an electric car at the time,
Yes.
the EV1.
We have one.
Yes. Yes. Sure, sir. Last question.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right?
And what's your question, Bob? Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. God bless you guys. Go to the committee hearing. We need everybody to come to the microphone and support this bill.
1:30.
1:30
in room 1200 in the new building next door.
Yeah, 1:30 and 1200 in the new building across the street because they're doing construction on the Capitol. But please come to the Transportation Hearing Committee.